Live from our hurricane headquarters with real-time analysis from some of the nation's top meteorologists. This is Tracking the Tropics, powered by Bose Electric.
The eye wall of Hurricane Helene at Category 4 strength moving over land. Landfall itself is imminent in Florida's Big Bend, with impacts already beginning to be felt in South Georgia. We are live on Tracking the Tropics, beginning a new stream across all platforms for our landfall coverage, again, for Hurricane Helene moving over land at this hour. Hello there to you folks. JB here, back with you live alongside meteorologist Eric Stone of the Max Defender 8 weather team here at WFLA in Tampa. Let's define landfall. Of course, we don't declare landfall. It's declared, of course, by the NHC. They will put out a special advisory letting us know that the storm has indeed made landfall here in the continental United States. It's defined as the center of the eye moving over land. And Eric, I'll bring up a couple of shots here because, as we can see on a couple of these shots, this is probably, a moment or two away from actually taking place. Here we look at the center of your screen. There is that well-defined eye wall of the Category 4 storm. When the center of that circle moves over land, moves over gray on this map, we have a landfall event that the NHC will inevitably declare.
Yeah, and I guesstimated about 11 o'clock or so, and I think it's going to be pretty close to that. In fact, I think what the National Hurricane Center is going to do in this case is probably not issue the 11 o'clock advisory until this does make landfall, and then that will be the 11 o'clock advisory. I don't think they're going to issue two advisories within, 3, 4, 5 minutes of each other. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But yeah, it definitely looks like part of the eye is on land, but we still need the center of the eye to be completely on land before this is declared a landfall. So again, in the coming minutes, 20 to 30 minutes or so, this thing should, as it's moving quickly. And the 10 o'clock update, believe it or not, the pressure did drop a little bit more to 939 millibars. That's a pretty hefty storm, right? Still, we're looking at wind of 140 miles per hour, and it's still moving northeast at 24. So as we see, this will eventually, move into South Georgia as a pretty strong hurricane, and we'll see a new cone coming out with that 11 o'clock advisory. But as for now, boy, you can see that northeast turn at the bottom of your screen, and we were thinking, oh boy, if this thing stays moving northeast, we're in big trouble. But it did straighten itself out, so that is good news. But there it is. As you can see, our Max Defender 8 radar, it's getting ever so close. It's inching closer to making landfall, pretty close to the 11 o'clock hour. So, JB, this is what we've been waiting for. Cedar Key right now is getting the full effects of the storm surge.
We'll be looking for Jeff Patterson's shot, by the way. It's not up presently. What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Our lights just went out in the newsroom completely.
Oh, my goodness. Did we just?
Yep. We lost power, but in here we didn't.
I have two monitors off.
Oh, wow. Yep.
That was probably the generator that just kicked on.
Well, right, but we didn't lose this electricity. That's the odd part.
One side of the room lost power. Look, that whole side of the room just lost power.
The whole newsroom lost power. The whole newsroom lost power, and then it came back on.
I have a shot of the newsroom. Actually, well, no, I'll have to move around this camera really quickly.
Yeah.
But our newsroom right now is in the dark.
For the most part, yeah. Some lights did come back on, but it is a lot darker than it was. Let's put it that way.
Wow, yeah, okay, that's a shot of our newsroom right now, and it's usually more lit than that, so the generator might have just kicked on. Wow, that's
interesting.
That's a first. I've worked here for 6 years. That is a first. Slider cam still works. We're still on stream, right? Can I get a thumbs up emoji from people? We're getting our signal out, right? Facebook Live, YouTube Live, yeah. WFLA in downtown Tampa just took a power hit, and look, that is par for the course for a lot of folks in the area. tens of thousands without power right now in Florida. And I think if our backup system didn't just jump in right there and save the day, our live stream right at the beginning of our landfall coverage on Tracking the Tropics would have ended.
The last I saw, JB, the power outages just in Pinellas County was 100,000 people, just in Pinellas. And from Pasco, even it was Pasco County southward. Each county had at least 50,000 people without a power. So the numbers are really starting to get up there. And that's just our area. You know, you start looking toward the Tallahassee area, and those counties are really going to see major power outages. Did you see that, Jeff?
We just lost power.
Oh, I did, yeah.
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 All right, why don't we bring that up, by the way? You want to see what it's like right now, folks, in downtown. We'll continue our landfall coverage here in just a moment, but I got to show this to you.
Yeah, what are the chances that we're going home tonight?
During
audience?
the 1 hour break between our streams, we went downstairs, Eric and I, and this is what was waiting for us. I sent this in to WFLA.com/reported. That's actually the quickest way to get it loaded into our system. And South Parker Street outside WFLA News Channel 8 is under, I would say, 2 to 3 feet of water.
At least 2 feet, yeah.
Probably
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad out there. We can't leave. So we're Eric.
I mean, we
we're
can leave. All we have to do is get to that sidewalk you see on the other side there. But, you know, I mean, we could walk through 2 feet of mucky water and then probably we'll be able to drive home. But here's the back part.
This is our parking garage where we normally park our live trucks and vehicles. And we move them all out in preparation of the storm. There's Eric there on the left.
Yep.
And it's underwater at WFLA.
And it's literally the same height as the bay or the Hillsborough River. So basically the Hillsborough River has flooded into our back lot, which is flooded around the side of the building to the front of our building. And the parking lot across the street is flooded as well. Not our parking lot across the street, because that's up on a hill. And then we've got our parking garage. But boy, it's like we're on an island, JB.
It's absolutely wild. I can't believe we're still on stream after taking that power hit. You know, like there's the Wolf of Wall Street Leo moment, right? You know, I'm not leaving. We're not leaving. We're staying here with you live for landfall coverage. And look, this is from Max Fender 8 radar, and you can clearly see that the eye wall has moved over land. We're waiting for the center of the eye to move over land before we be on the lookout for the NHC's advisory of a landfall event in the state of Florida. Eric, every time they issue a special advisory for a landfall event, they associate it with a town. Can we zoom in here and on radar, perhaps?
Yeah.
And it will there. Yeah, I think Perry is likely to be it. Well, no, Perry's not on the coast, right? Or is it?
Right. No, not necessarily, but Perry may go to the coast, right? So here's St. Mark's. So it's going to be east of St. Mark's. Like, you really have to zoom, hardcore to get any towns.
Yeah. There's just not a lot here.
No,
this is a lot of wildlife. It's a very swampy area.
Well, you can tell there's a little neighborhood right here, in this area, but I don't see. Yeah, I mean, I would say Cross City is over there. They're about to get a pretty nasty rain ban.
Spring Creek is in this area. It's just there's.
Yeah, I mean, there's Horseshoe Beach. This is where I predicted it would make landfall, so I'm a little bit off to the east, but not by far. So, I'm assuming they would say the Perry area. Now, what's interesting is Idalia made landfall almost in the same exact spot because we were watching Perry. Remember that? So maybe if I go back, maybe if I do a search, and I can see exactly where Idalia made landfall. See if it says Perry or not, and that will give me a good idea if this storm will make landfall there.
As Eric looks that up, we'll let Eric check that out. everyone focus there on the movement speed. If you're just joining us and you haven't been part of our previous streams, that 24 mile per hour movement speed is booking it. I mean, that's fast. So this isn't going to stay over, the Tallahassee area for, too long, in comparison to previous, like hurricanes and tropical storms that we've tracked because of that fast movement speed. But that is bad news for Georgia, bad news for Valdosta, other communities in southwest Georgia, bad news for Atlanta, because this is going to maintain that strength, move inland as a Cat 3, Cat 2, Cat 1 hurricane. And there's a very likely scenario where we have a Cat 1 or tropical storm over the Atlanta metro in the early morning hours on Friday.
So it was Keaton Beach. I remember. Oh, it's out again.
Wow. Okay.
See if you can get the camera out. Now the power is completely out.
Let's see. So on slider cam's working. I don't know how. Yeah, the newsroom is completely in the dark.
Yeah. This is what I saw initially.
Wow. So we're lucky, Gary, that we're on generator power, is what you're saying. Are we still streaming?
Well, there's got to be a reason that we're on generator power, because it's pretty important for us to be.
So we are officially on generator power at WFLA. We have lost power in the newsroom. And even, what's interesting about this is that Helene has moved past the Tampa Bay area. So we're losing power, Eric, with the storm about to make landfall in the Big Bend. Perhaps you can help us figure out exactly why. Why are we losing power now and not 2 hours ago?
So first of all, I've switched our radar to national, so you get a better idea of some of these heavy rain bands moving into South Georgia right now. Let me go back. Let's see what some of these wind gusts are right now. And I mean, you never know, JB. It could be a tree falling on a power line. It could be something along those lines. As far as, I'm going to go to source 120 just to see what the current wind speeds and direction are right now, which again is a little bit less, right? Because Helene is so far to the north. So, I mean, we're still seeing pretty close to tropical storm force wind from Tampa to St. Pete to Sarasota. And that's sustained wind, right? So, I mean, almost 40 mile an hour sustained wind. And then when you factor the gusts are still 50 to 60. So right now, the latest gust at Tampa International was 53 miles an hour. St. Pete was 58. Sarasota was 55. So again, I mean, what do we talk about with prolonged 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts? Trees, basketball poles, right? Hoops. We've seen all sorts of things being knocked down, parts of roofs. And so a tree could have knocked down a power line, or even more likely, maybe a car went through a puddle, went through water, slipped, went too fast, ran into a telephone pole. You never know, right? You never know.
This is absolutely wild, you guys. I just want to paint a picture for it. What's that? Yeah, we're on right now.
How about you guys?
Yeah. Wait, studio's out? Oh, we're not on the air.
Wow.
Wait, are we off air with all programming right now? Or studio's down, but we don't know if we have. We are the only room at WFLA that has power.
Someone's watching over us, baby. Woohoo! Wow.
I want to put into context, okay? WFLA is a huge building. It's 4 floors in downtown Tampa. We share some building space with TGH. It's the biggest newsroom I've ever been in. It's big for a local television station.
Right.
We have a very large television station in Tampa. And to know that we are the only place basically with lights on in the building, that's just, I mean, look.
That's unheard of.
We're just sitting here in a state of disbelief because I never thought that we would see the day where the entire building is out with the exception of the stream center.
Wow. That is something.
Some computers remain up in there, but all the lights are out, so it's complete darkness in our newsroom. And so we're going to continue to focus on our audience and the real-time impacts that are out there. Our weather computers are operational.
I was just thinking,
that's good.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't?
Well, they are, but are the cores down? Chances are, if these weather computers are up, because we're remoting in,
Sure.
so chances are we're still going to get data, over the coming minutes. So, we're still getting data. So, what we have, what's called the rack room, we still have all the information coming in and whatnot. So now I think they're discussing whether they're going to use that green screen on the air.
Well, using us on air, we
Right.
might be going on
Yep.
TV.
Yep.
That might be an option. The entire WFLA has several studios. Studio A, Studio B. We are Studio C. Studio A and B are out. So there's no way to get out the news right now. The 11 o'clock news is coming up in 12 minutes. We're going to find out exactly what the contingency plans are. Jeff, what do you got? Okay. Sure. Why don't they just take our signal? We can open the show. Well, all right, folks. We got to mute mics and have stand by.
Live from our hurricane headquarters with real-time analysis from some of the nation's top meteorologists. This is Tracking the Tropics, powered by Bose Electric.
Hurricane Helene making landfall at this hour, awaiting the NHC's declaration of a landfall event in Florida's Big Bend. We are live on Tracking the Tropics on all platforms, including WFLA News Channel 8. To our broadcast audience, welcome into the Stream Center here with meteorologist Eric Stone, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Berardelli, live on WFLA News Channel 8, of course, with technical difficulties. We have partially lost power here at WFLA in downtown Tampa. The Stream Center remains on the air. Jeff, let's take us through the very latest here. What are we seeing at this hour? The 11 o'clock advisory has come in. Tampa Bay seeing significant impacts, tens of thousands without power. What are we seeing out there?
Yeah, JB, I mean, we're surrounded by water here at the station. I just went outside and we have 2 or 3 feet of water outside of our station. We're seeing record levels of water all across the Bay Area. And as we speak, Hurricane Helene, with winds of 140 miles an hour, Cat 4 strength, is making landfall in the Big Bend area of Florida. As we zoom in, you could see that clear eye, and it was very unfortunate, but it rapidly intensified right before landfall. And that's becoming a lot more common over the past decade, that instead of storms weakening as they reach landfall because the water is just so warm, it's record warm right now in the Gulf of Mexico. Instead, these storms are rapidly intensifying up to landfall. And storms that intensify right up to landfall cause a lot more damage. Winds 140 miles an hour. The pressure is down to 938 millibars. That is 3 millibars less than Hurricane Ian when it made landfall. So theoretically, it's just as strong as Ian at landfall. All right, this is a look at the boardwalk from our building. From News Channel 8, we have a tower with a camera on it, and we're looking at the Hillsborough River, and that is the boardwalk right there, Riverwalk. Riverwalk is completely flooded right now, as is a lot of neighborhoods in and around the Tampa Bay area. Now, I want to show you this graphic right here. I put it together just a few minutes ago, and it's already outdated because water levels continue to rise. So the old record at Clearwater was 6.8 feet above mean low water. That's just a designation from NOAA. But today, we've already gotten to 9.3 feet, so I have to update that graphic because I just checked a couple of seconds ago. It's even higher, and it's probably the case for a lot of the area. St. Petersburg likely is now eclipsed to 7 feet. By the way, the high tide is at 2 a.m., so we still have a few hours to go where the waters could still to creep up a little bit. Breaking records in Tampa Bay by over a foot, as you can see. And by the way, Cedar Key right now, water levels are going straight up. Last time I checked, it was 10 feet above mean low water, but that will just continue to increase. In Cedar Key, we're expecting somewhere around 15 feet of surge. Here in the Bay Area, we've seen about 6 feet of surge. I'll show you this graphic right here. In Clearwater, we've had, again, we're up to 9.3 now. Last I built this graphic was 9.1 feet. But look at where we should have been. Follow that blue line right there. We should have been closer to around 2 to 3 feet. So we've added 6 or 7 feet of surge on top of what the tides should have been. All right, Rebecca Berry is going to help me out with this. I'm going to step out of the picture. We're going to show you some of our viewer pictures. This is from our Report It, and you can always send us pictures to WFLA.com/report it. This one is from Ivan in Tampa. Yeah, we've had some really, really gusty winds knocking down tree limbs there. And winds have been gusting to around 70, even 80 miles an hour in parts of the Bay Area. If you want to send us a picture, you can send it right there at WFLA.com/report it. All right, take a look at the peak wind gusts that we've seen during the day today. 82 in St. Petersburg. You know, this storm was very well forecast. All of its attributes, the surge, the wind, we thought we'd see some hurricane-force wind gusts right along the immediate coast. That's exactly what we saw. Clearwater Airport, 71-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Sarasota, 69. Crystal River, those winds are still going to be picking up in Crystal River. And this storm took exactly the track that we thought it would days ago, as you can see. And the result of it is a lot of power outages. Last I checked, we had 700,000 power outages across the state of Florida. And some of the worst power outages, as you might imagine, right here in Pinellas County, where the strongest wind gusts have been and where a lot of people, highest concentration of people are. So customer-wise, that is between 100,000 and 250,000 on this map. Hillsborough County's had a lot of power outages. Same thing, especially in Sarasota County. A few less customers out in places like Manatee County, Pasco, Hernando, and also into Citrus County. All right, let's show you the future radar. So the storm making landfall right now, right around Perry. This will continue to move north and carry with it at least Category 2 winds into Georgia. So there's going to be a lot of damage up to Georgia. And eventually that rainfall is going to hit the mountains in North Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina and rain itself out. And all that water is going to come rushing down the mountains and the hills and cause, I think, catastrophic flash flooding in that area. For us, our weather's getting better. We've had about 1 to 3 inches of rain across the area today. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, it'll still be gusty. Winds gusting 35, 40 miles an hour. And we'll still have a couple of outer bands moving through. But watch this. For the most part tomorrow, it will be dry, partly sunny skies. But in the morning, because we still have this onshore flow, water levels will probably still be pretty high across the Bay Area when you first wake up. And as the day goes on, those water levels will gradually recede. So it's not going to be easy driving around the Bay Area tomorrow morning, especially in those low-lying areas. All right, so notice this. This is a very rare high risk for flooding that was issued by NOAA. They only issue maybe a few high risk per year, and that's because they're worried about how much flooding is going to materialize when this storm crashes into the southern part of the Appalachians with over 20 inches of rain forecast in some areas. Locally, we're going to see the wind gusts during the day tomorrow start at around 36 miles an hour, but come down into the 20s. So conditions are certainly going to get better as the day goes on during the day tomorrow. And again, as we head into the weekend, it's going to be a typical summer weekend around here. Unfortunately, you know, unlike most storms that pass the end of September and beginning of October, they normally usher in cooler and drier air. That is not, unfortunately, going to happen this time. There's no cool air behind Helene, so we are going to be stuck with a summer-like pattern, highs around 90, feels like temperatures near 100, and scattered showers and storms. Okay, I'm going to walk back to the desk here, and we're going to bring JB and Eric back into the mix to discuss what's happening across the Bay Area right now.
Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baradelli, Max Fender Meteorologist Eric Stone, Max Fender Meteorologist Rebecca Berry there in the corner. JB here live with you folks. I want to send you out to a live picture now. This is going to be from the Max Fender 8 Storm vehicle. Jeff Patterson is out there in Cedar Key, and this is a live picture from Cedar Key. That is a stop sign on the left side of your screen. Let's bring in Jeff with photojournalist Joey Capistrand there in Cedar Key live. What's the latest there, Jeff?
Well, good evening, JB. As you can tell, conditions have really deteriorated since the last time we spoke to you. About an hour or so ago, I was standing just down the street there, really on the street that faces the Gulf of Mexico, and take a look outside the vehicle right now. What you're looking at is the faraway end, and it is just devastating what has happened here. The water is crashing. We've seen it crash above the roof line. It is completely into that building down there. And now the stop sign that we have talked about through Hurricane Idalia and other storms is completely underwater down the street. I'm keeping an eye ahead of us, and there is markings on the telephone pole, the power pole down there, that tells us how high the storm surge is. It's going above 13 feet right now, and I can tell you just from being here last August during Hurricane Idalia, the water level right now at this time is higher than it was during Idalia. In other words, during Idalia was at 8 feet of storm surge, and that was a record for Cedar Key. Right now, and I'm just from my experience, the water level here is higher at this time. And if Joey will just go ahead and pull out for a wide shot, what you're seeing there floating in the street is debris from buildings that face the Gulf of Mexico. We're seeing just the tops of roofs and just people's items, their personal items, the things that were not tied down. There's a possibility, because we can't obviously get out there right now because it's just too dangerous to walk along, but there's a possibility that some buildings have been compromised, perhaps even destroyed by this huge influx of water. And the water level is just increasing and increasing. Around 8:30, 9 o'clock, we were down almost at the street, had to retreat 2 or 3 times to pull the vehicle up higher. And now we're still almost at the intersection. Just to be clear, we're safe where we are. We have another 10 to 15 feet to go of land before we run out of land. So I feel confident that even if the storm surge gets to 20 feet, we will be safe. But you're just looking at some catastrophic devastation for the people of Cedar Key who are experiencing this right now. And I've been on this island for many storms and have been out there and just seen it. And this is some of the worst I've seen in terms of the wind damage, because we're seeing down trees, down tree limbs, the damage from the storm surge that we're seeing. You can see the debris from buildings out there. There's things floating in the water out there. So obviously it would be very dangerous to be out there down in the water. I will tell you, unfortunately for the owners of the bed and breakfast, the Airbnb that we are staying in, there's a major roof leak inside right now on the 2nd floor. The building that we are in is more than 100 years old, and I've spoken to the owner a number of times. She has never had water inside of her building, and the storm surge now is in her backyard. It's still a few feet away from her building, but it's getting close. And so the roof has been compromised of her building, of her business. We're seeing major water leaks. We actually went inside the building just a little while ago and tried to put some trash cans and some buckets down to catch the leaks that are coming in. But quite frankly, it's almost raining in the room that I was in. And so they are going to have some major repairs ahead, JB.
Being joined here by Jeff Patterson in the Max Fender 8 Storm vehicle, just jaw-dropping images out of Cedar Key, bringing in our entire team here. Eric Stone, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baradelli, JB here with you, and Jeff in the center of your screen from Cedar Key. And Jeff, you were just looking up some of the numbers from Cedar Key.
So I can verify this is a record. They've been keeping data in Cedar Key for 100 years on tide levels. This is a record, and now we're up to nearly 9 feet of storm surge, and that is still going to continue to go up for the next, I think, couple of hours. So we are likely to top probably 12 feet. Or come close to it in Cedar Key.
Yeah, Eric, this is just something we've been talking about on Tracking the Tropics all evening long. Still no landfall itself, no landfall declaration for the NHC,
No,
correct?
not yet. I've got the graphic up and ready to go. It's going to be any minute now. And you can see this time around that stop sign, the famous stop sign, completely underwater. And you saw those waves crashing on the roof. And look at all that debris in the water.
Yeah, I mean, let's take it full screen because the debris is still washing up. Jeff, I don't know if you're with us. Any final thoughts before we let you go from Cedar Key? Be safe out there.
I can. We are being safe. And I just want you to take a look at this, because when these waves are coming in, they're just kind of rifling down the side of this building. You're looking at the roof of a building, the side of that building. You can see the windows have been totally compromised. The water is just pouring inside through the windows. The water right now, take a look at that, just at the roof line of that first building down there. During Hurricane Idalia, they actually lost Cottage 1, totally destroyed by this. And this water is even higher right now than it was during Hurricane Idalia. So we are no doubt seeing record-setting levels of storm surge here on Cedar Key. It is incredible to watch. It's sad because we know the people here at Cedar Key put their heart and souls into these businesses to make them as lovely as they can, and they have a lot of work ahead to recover.
News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson with photojournalist Joey Capistrand there in Cedar Key. Fellas, be safe out there, and we'll hopefully see you back home safe and sound in the days ahead. Thank you so much for joining us.